Hi, it's Alaska Granny. On a recent trip to the grocery store, I was able to get some free buckets and lids. You just go in the store to the bakery section and you ask them if they have any buckets, and most of the time they'll give them to you for free. They aren't clean though. You need to take them home and wash them. The easiest way is to put them into the dishwasher. Buckets are a great way to organize your emergency supplies and to use for your food storage. If you're going to use them for food storage, make sure you examine the lid. The inner rim of the lid needs to have the rubber ring, which makes it airtight. Some of the buckets don't have the inner ring. Use those buckets and lids that don't have the little rubber ring to store other supplies than food. I decided I wanted to use one of my buckets to make a 72-hour food kit. This is an emergency kit if there was absolutely no way to cook, no way to prepare anything. If you had to grab your bucket and evacuate or bug out in a real emergency and you could not prepare anything and maybe you needed to eat on the go. What are foods you could put in your bucket that you could grab it on your way out and have meals and food you could eat to keep you sustained for several days? When you're planning foods for emergencies, you want things that are already prepared, tear open and eat, and don't require any preparation at all. You could eat them right out of the package and they're fine the way they are. Lots of times when you look at emergency food, they want to sell you energy bars that you get one big bar and you break it up for 3 days. And if you've ever seen any reviews on those, no one said they're enjoyable to eat. Preparing your own 72-hour kit of food helps you have foods that are familiar to you, that you're ready and willing to eat, and allows you to have control over your own environment in any kind of a situation. Plan your 72-hour bucket just like you would meals at home. You need something for breakfast, something for lunch, something for dinner. Choose foods that the calories are going to equal 2,000 to 2,400 calories per day, and you want to choose foods that are high in protein. Where can we begin? Let's look at breakfast. It might be as simple as granola bars, protein bars, Cliff bars, any kind of those kind of bars that you already like to eat. Choose a variety of those for several days at a time. Granola, dried fruit, a jar of peanut butter. These are easy to eat, dense in calories and nutrition that can keep you going in an emergency situation. Then when the time comes for lunch or dinner, look for the meals that are in little packets that are designed to heat up in the microwave. They come in all different flavors and you don't have to heat them up. They're already cooked and prepared. The reason you heat them is just to make them tastier because we enjoy eating foods hot. There's a wide range of varieties and calorie counts. You want to pay attention to the amount of calories in them when you're adding up your calorie amounts for the day. Some of them have 2 servings in them, so it would be 2 times the calorie count. Some of them are a serving of 1, and so you want to pay attention to the total number of calories and protein when you're figuring out if you're getting enough food. Choose packets of meats like tuna and salmon that are tear open and eat pouches. Maybe you could mix them in with one of these other entrees or just eat it as is. Once you've figured out your food and you think you have enough, get out your calculator, add it all up. See if you have enough calories in them. Pay attention to the number of servings per package. Multiply the number of servings times calories per serving to get the total calories in that package. No meal plan is complete unless you have water. Know that water is very heavy. It weighs over 8 pounds per gallon, but it's an absolute must-have with your emergency meal plans and your emergency gear. Lots of the meal plans that you find, the buckets, don't include any water, yet they require water to prepare the emergency food. You don't want to be caught in a situation that you're really not prepared when you thought you were. So plan out for yourself what you're really going to have in your emergency food plan. The ideal emergency meal bucket is going to have the water already in it. Then you can grab your bucket. You don't need to remember anything else. You can grab your bucket and you're ready to go. I chose a rectangular bucket because I'm going to start with a rectangular bottle of water. That's going to go in there first. Then I'm going to put the foods in around it and then put on the lid. A trick that I use to help organize things and help keep them fresh is I put the granola bars or the energy bars into Ziploc bags together so I can easily pull them out. I also like to put the tuna and salmon packets together in a Ziploc bag and keep them together in the bucket. What other additions do you want to include in your bucket? Make sure you have a spoon. Make sure you include a roll of toilet paper. I don't know anyone that can go 3 days without perhaps needing a little bit of this. Have a trash bag for the packaging when you're done with your meal. If you have room left in your bucket and you still have the energy to carry more weight around, you may want to consider something like a Gatorade. These are the sturdiest containers ever, and the sports drinks include electrolytes that if you were in a highly physical or a very hot environment, you would need to replenish some of those in your body. And then after you drank this, even if you hadn't used up your gallon of water, you would then have an empty container. If you were able to collect more water, this would be a good container to put it into. If you don't have a bucket or you're not interested in storing buckets, get a nice shopping bag from your grocery store. Stored food and emergency supplies are also less conspicuous in your home if you just have a shopping bag stuffed into the corner of your closet. This bucket is packed up to be left at Granny Camp. If for some reason I'm out here and I can't get back to town or there's some emergency, I have an extra 3-day supply of food. When you're choosing your foods for your bucket, know that these aren't long-term. You can't put this bucket away for 25 years and it's going to be fine. You want to choose foods that you're willing to eat on a regular basis. That should be the basics of your food supply. Then you want to choose foods that have about approximately the same expiration date. These are all 1 year or more. So I can put these things into my bucket. Then 1 year from now, I can take the bucket out, put those foods into the pantry. We can use them for our regular meals, and then I can load it up again for the following year. Knowing how to rotate your food also helps you make sure that you are providing the foods that you need and that the quality is there when you want to eat your stored food. Go to the store, look for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, things that are tear open and eat that have at least a year's long shelf life. Then load up a bucket or a shopping bag, set it aside, and know that you're ready to grab and go if you had to head out of the door in an emergency situation. Leave me a comment. What foods would you put in your 72-hour grab and go meal plan, and what you're doing to help prepare to make sure that your family has what you need no matter what comes your way. Learn more at alaskagranny.com. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.